Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. I'm so excited that you are listening today because this episode is so good. We are just back from my vacation, so I felt like I was a little rusty starting this interview. I felt like I had to get my bearings again, but we just got back from a cruise and a trip that we had so much fun on. We got hit with a winter storm here in Knoxville and we got to escape that for a week. So I know last week we did a re-release. And if you hadn't listened to that episode with Jack Howard yet, I hope you went back and listened to that because it was so wonderful. But we are back and recording today with Nina was so exciting. She was actually someone that I haven't got to meet personally yet, but that I have followed on social media for a while. And I always am just so refreshed by her authenticity. And so getting to talk to her today, she was exactly what I thought that she would be. She shared so much so openly. We realized that we're both from Pennsylvania. So I was excited to get to talk to another Pennsylvania girly. I feel like we have so much in common and really figured out that the way that she operates, I felt like I related to a lot. She was really into structure and processes, and I love that. So we were able to connect and I really felt like we were able to get deep on this episode because I felt like I already could relate so much to who she is and just actually getting to hear her story of how she came into the industry and her process of salon ownership and how she is involved in so many different ways in the industry to really be somebody who I feel like is allowed to speak on all of this. I feel like so many people are talking online that it's hard to kind of weed out who has the experience, who has lived this, why are they doing this? So talking to Nina was amazing and so wonderful. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And I hope that you love it. So we are going to put some links in the episode notes so that you can get some more of the information that she talks about in the episode. You can find the links to what you need to find hopefully down below. She's an author. So I am right after I'm done recording this going to order her book. I'm so excited to just learn more about her and to really like hear more of her story. So I hope you love this and make sure that when you're done listening, subscribe, make sure that you give us a 5-star review if you're listening, wherever you're listening to podcasts. And don't forget to follow me at Beauty School Bobbi and to follow us on Beauty and Style Network. So I hope you love it. And here we go. Hey, beauty students and educators. I'm excited to share that Beauty School Bobbi is now supported by BeautyCast Network, your go-to career services and placement platform for the beauty industry. Free to schools, educators, and students, BeautyCast Network connects you with top artists, influencers, and educators who inspire and empower the next generation of pros. From webinars and newsletters to virtual career showcases, competitions, and scholarship pop-ups, the platform is packed with tools to build non-technical skills, encourage career readiness, and help students launch amazing careers as they approach their graduation date. Learn more at beautycastnetwork.com to help your students thrive and take their career to the next level. Now back to the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. Today I'm here with somebody that I've followed on social media, constantly liking like every post, love everything that you have to say. So I'm so excited to talk to you today. Thank you for being on the show, Nina.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Listen, I live for a good convo podcast and we're both from PA. So what could be better, really?
I know. I'm so excited. When I found that out today, I was just so happy. And I just really feel like your energy and all of your videos, like you just have so much energy. And what I love about that is you can tell just from what you post and how you speak that you have love and passion for this industry. So I have so much that I want to talk to you about what you're doing right now, but I really want to hear your story of kind of how it all started of getting into the beauty industry and where that started for you, whether that was when you you were younger? Did you always know that this is what you wanted to do, or what was your path into this?
Well, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. It's crazy. I feel like I was choosing between 2 paths. One was to be a dolphin trainer, and the other one was to be a hairstylist. And
I love that.
because I love animals and I love serving people and I love doing hair. So, and then my mom told me that I was going to have to go to college and share a dorm room and share a shower, and I'm like pretty OCD. As I was like, absolutely not. I have to go to college for 4 years. I was not a star student, that's for sure. And I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna go to hair school. And I was like one of the first people to sign up. I went to Votech, so I was a techie. And then I fell in love with it. I had an amazing teacher that I really truly love, Mrs. Danks. I will never forget her. And I really learned a ton about not only just the technical side, but just about the serving and the people side of it. And so, yeah. So after that, I had to finish like 250 hours, and I went to a local school in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and finished my hours. And after that, I kind of took a little bit of a pause. I worked for Circuit City. I don't know if you remember Circuit
Oh
City.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I worked there for a little bit, and then I worked at a salon in a town that was like a neighboring town to me in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. And I kind of did both for a while, and then just pulled the trigger and started going full time as a hairstylist, and met my 2 mentors at that time and was with them for a very long time, and until I ended up doing my own thing.
Yeah, and that led into salon ownership for you. So how did that happen? Was it something that you had always like, have you always been like entrepreneurial, like wanted something that was your own? Do you remember what that felt like when you were like, I want something that's mine. I want to have my own salon.
Yes, I always wanted to have my own space. And I remember talking to my teacher about it in Votech, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to have my own salon. And when I worked for Robin and Ray, who were my mentors, and Robin, my mentor still to this day, I was like, okay, let me take all of this information and everything that I can learn from them. They were so kind and so giving and incredibly smart. They owned over 200 hair salons themselves. And so I learned
Wow.
everything with them. I was with them for about 8 years. And so, yes, I knew that that was my path, but working with them as a district manager for a long period of time, it was kind of like my college education. And then after being with them for 8 years, we moved to Florida. We opened up a chain of salons. I mean, we did a lot of really cool things together. I just felt like I wanted to do my own thing. And so I left this very cushy job and situation in Florida in West Palm Beach to move back home where it was freezing cold and start my own salon. And that's when in 2006 is when I opened. Anthony Ashley was the name of my salon. And that's when I kicked it off, my commission salon.
Yeah. And so what was it like transitioning into your own space? It sounds like your partners that because you ended up being business partners with them,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So you ended up being business partners, which clearly means like they saw something in you that you had this fire and this drive. Were they supportive of you doing your own thing? Was it like, okay, like fly, here you go? What was that like?
Listen, they are incredible. I say they, Ray has since passed, but truly incredible people. And really, Robin truly changed the trajectory of my life. Like, that's how serious. And I will forever be grateful. And we were together for so long, and they always wanted me to do great things and do what I really wanted. It was really hard, to be honest, leaving them, and I think it was maybe a little bit hurtful, for Robin, for me to be with her for so long and leave. It was just because we were so close and we were doing all of these things together. But yes, they were absolutely incredibly supportive. And even when I started my salon and opened and had some questions, of course, I could always reach out and call them and chat with them. And no matter what, they were always there for me. It's like mentorship 101 with them. I feel like it was like I
Yeah.
couldn't have asked for better mentors.
Yeah, and you clearly have taken, I mean, a lot from that. I feel like from what you give to the industry now and how you are able to speak about the industry, having that mentorship, leadership background is so helpful. And I think again that professionalism that comes along with that. Now, you being a district manager, working at a place for so long, when you were in a corporate setting, or having like multiple locations,
Mhm.
were you like, I only want one space, I'll never do anything that has more than one? Or did you think like, I like how this feels and I understand this world and I want to grow that?
It was interesting because Robin Ray had his set of salons and he had over 200, and then she had her set of salons which she had 8. And I would say it was definitely not corporate. She was so like chill and it was very easy, laid back. We had a really good relationship when I was the DM, and the relationship was, let me do my thing and let me have the systems and the leadership and do all of the hard shit, and then
Yeah.
you don't come in and undo it, because she was so nice and so kind that sometimes she would feel bad and do all the things. I'm like, so you stay out of the salons and take care of the back end, and I will do all of the day-to-day operations. So we had that good relationship there. I would say, after I left them, I was so focused on just having my one salon. There was a point in time in about maybe 2012, 2013, where I was going to pull the trigger on purchasing another salon, and it just didn't feel right. And I feel like sometimes opening a second location, it could be really great or it could be the kiss of death. And
Hmm.
I really felt that it just wasn't the right time. Unfortunately, we did find out at that time that my mom had cancer. So it was kind of
Oh
like,
gosh.
the universe's way of telling me this isn't the right thing for you to do. So
Yeah.
thought about it, put that behind me, and then never thought about it again.
Yeah. Now, right
Yeah.
now, currently, like, and somebody's like, what do you do? Like, what is your, what is, you're an author, you have a podcast, in the industry. I mean, you're such a, not, I don't even want to say like influencer, because I feel like that has like negative, I mean, you're such a leader in this industry. And so many people go to you for guidance and for questions. And you're always there to talk about what's happening like right now in the industry. What is, how do you describe what you do or what your role is?
Thank you. You're so kind. I wish I could just keep you and you could say nice things about me all day. It's so sweet. I appreciate it. My role really is to help salon owners, help hairstylists grow people first, profitable businesses.
Mhm,
And we're doing that through culture, through leadership, through pricing. Pricing is
mhm,
my lane, pricing and
mhm,
profit. And it really is to give people confidence and understand that running a business means that you get to make money, you get to make a
mhm,
profit, you get to make a life and a living for yourself. And so that really is what I do. And it could be through coaching, it could be through in salon education. There's many facets that we could work together. I'm also the business education ambassador for Olivo Professional, and I've been
mhm.
with them for over 5 years. I also am an ambassador for Vish. So I get to do really cool things with really cool brands. And, I think that I just feel really fortunate to do what I love. And just, you mentioned the book. Like, I just launched this book and I was pushing off the launch for so long because I had such imposter syndrome and I was so nervous about this damn thing. But the book is really an extension of being confident, building a business that isn't just through finance. It's really understanding that profit is weaved through every single decision that you make in the way you lead and the way you treat people.
Mhm.
So, it's, I don't know, I just feel really, really fortunate to do what I absolutely love. And I would say in a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, I think with you having your hand in so many different areas, it really makes you a person that I think just has the right answers, knows what's going on, stays in touch with everything. You're not somebody that's just kind of like out here, not really in it, but still wants to sell and coach and
Right.
pitch and, all of those things. I think still being in it. You said something interesting that I want to like, I kind of want to make the connection. I'm sure that you have, but you had said that when you were working in the salons, like you were procedures and structure
Mhm.
and all of that. I thrive in that world, but
Mhm.
that means that I have to study a lot of different areas to see what's working and what's not working. But because of that, you gain so much knowledge because you can see, like you said, what's working, what's
Sure.
not working. I feel like that is so valuable. I feel like sometimes people get stuck in a lane, and they don't want to move out of that and not even out of comfort. Sometimes I think it's just genuine curiosity. For
Yeah.
me, I'm like, this is fun to figure out, like in the beauty school, like in my world, like it's fun to figure out what's working, what's not working. And we know that it's constantly changing. So for me,
Mhm.
that keeps me interested. It keeps me excited. But I think that that's not always something that people are willing to kind of step into, or to say, if you're in a salon, maybe a stylist behind the chair saying, oh, I want to take this on, or I want to do this within the company, or even if, that owner is coming to you and saying, hey,
Mhm.
I want you to get into education or whatever. I think people don't always realize how valuable that can be long term, because what you're going to learn in those extra positions in the salon, like, it really does make you better in every area. And I love that you said that you just like really knew every side of it, and you've been in the industry long enough, working with brands, like you really just are just so well rounded. And I really love like highlighting people like you, because I think that that's something that I really want to encourage. My audience is a little younger. They're either in high school
Mhm.
cosmetology programs, or new stylists, or in beauty school currently. So those, I want to encourage that, the opportunity, maybe it's not always with, a huge raise or whatever, but having that, that background to get the information that you need to make yourself better, that's valuable. And I think that there are so many opportunities in this industry that people don't always take advantage of in the salon. They kind of just get, stuck in their little day to day. But, growing and growing doesn't mean that like you have to leave or change, what you're doing so much, but just like it's extra education. It's like the master's degree once you're in it. So, and I think for you specifically, like you've done really well at, taking that and being able to use it to get you to where you are now and who you are in this industry. So I really like encouraging those extra opportunities, for sure.
Amen.
Now, right now, I have a question for you. This is what I was
Mhm.
thinking about when I was like wanting to record with you. I know that you are probably blown up constantly with like DMs, messages, all of that. As of right now, like 2026, what is the number one question that you're asked, or the number one like problem, let's say, that people are coming to you about? Is it financial? Is it leadership stuff? What is the number one thing that people come to you about more than anything?
It's always pricing. I would say I
Pricing?
get
Okay.
more questions about pricing than anything. I do, what's next in line, I would say more culture leadership questions too. How do
Hmm.
I do this? How do I get my team engaged? How do I get them to show up for me? I can't hire anybody. I can't find anybody. What, like that kind of stuff too. So I would say second would be that, but more so pricing. How do I make more money? When do I raise my prices? How do I know if I have the prices that I have now are in line and where they what they should be? And how do I go about this in a way that I can still serve my clients, but also still make more money? I think for so
Hmm.
long in this industry, we went along with this narrative that because we're a service based business, that we're not allowed to make money and we're not allowed to make a profit. And that's total BS. I said this a million times and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. There is not one business owner on the planet that has opened a business and said, wow, I can't wait to not make any money. It's okay to say that I went into business so I can create freedom and flexibility and lifestyle and make money and take care of my family. That's great. That's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to open up a business for. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you still can't serve your clients and take care of them too. I think
Hmm.
people think that they had to choose one or the other. And I'm
Hmm.
here saying you can do both. You can say yes to your clients, you can say yes to you. You can still serve and still make a profit and still put money away and save and pay off debt and start to really secure your financial future with the money that you're bringing in from your salon business or your beauty professional business. It doesn't have to be just
Hmm.
hair.
Yeah. Are you seeing that change? Like where is it, is it a demographic of like age? Like, do you think that younger stylists are more comfortable to raise prices a little more? Like people are talking about it now. Like there's
Mhm,
there's
mhm.
people like you that are actually having this conversation and talking about it, but where maybe it wasn't? Or is it, more salon owner versus somebody that is a stylist or, esthetician, or what do you think about that? Where do you think that's kind of coming from?
I do think that the people who are coming into the industry doesn't have to be just per age, just coming into
Mhm.
the industry in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I
I
guess I
think
meant age by like
yeah,
in the industry
yeah,
age.
in the
Yeah.
industry, right? I think that they are a little bit more courageous. They're a little bit
Mhm.
more confident in what they're charging. They're like, oh, $300 for this, no problem. They just
Mhm.
feel a little bit more that they're like, this is what I'm charging and this is okay. I
Mhm.
would say now, are there still some that have been in the industry for a year, maybe two, that are struggling with pricing? Absolutely. There were a few in my class. I just had a class 2 weeks ago and they were still struggling with pricing. Amazing stylist, doing really, really great things in the business, maybe a year or two, still struggling with pricing. But I will say that, it is. Yes, it's salon owners, I think sometimes because it's easy to get stuck in your own way or to feel like nervous raising prices because you're now not only responsible for just your own prices, you're responsible for how other people are making money. And
Mhm.
so that is a hard decision to make and can be very overwhelming. So yeah, I mean, I'd say that there are still stylists that are veteran stylists that are like, I've been doing this for so long and we have these people coming in and they're just charging what they should charge. And I'm like, let's learn from them.
Yeah.
What can we learn from them and what can they learn from you?
Mhm.
So I would say it's a mix, but I do think that the new generation coming in, they do seem a little bit more confident in terms of what they're charging.
Yeah. Now, the fear that you hear from people to talk about money, I think it definitely, and because we're so involved and just so like emotional, in the best way possible in this
Mhm.
industry, like again, caring about our clients and wanting to be able to provide everything for them. I think a lot of this, do you find that it kind of goes back to like personal feelings about money as well, like how people personally talk about money? I mean, it goes into their profession as well. I mean, do you find links between that when you're talking to people, that it's also how they're handling their own money or talking about their own money as they are for their business? Like they kind of haven't separated that?
Absolutely, yes. And I speak from experience. I mean, I have a whole chapter in my Make That Money course just on your relationship with money. And I
Mhm.
feel like what we're taught about money, what we see when it comes to money growing up, we do absorb those patterns and behaviors.
Mhm.
And and some of those patterns and behaviors can be great. They could be,
Mhm.
you're really good with money, you know how to budget. Like some of them are really amazing, but some of them are not. And in my case, it wasn't. I wasn't taught how to budget. We didn't have money growing up. We lived check to check. My dad worked for a very long time. My mom stayed home and took care of the kids, very old traditional Italian household. And then finally, when I was maybe like 6, my mom ended up going back to work, to make her own money. And my mom worked really hard. And there for a while, she worked 3 jobs, after my mom and dad got divorced. And I just feel like there is a parallel there with what we see and what we perceive when it comes to money, and
Mhm.
we take it with us. And unless we change the narrative, unless we learn differently or we learn to shut down those negative beliefs around it, for the people who absorb some of that, those the negative side of money, we do carry it into our business. And I am a prime example. That's why I went broke. That's why I got $90,000 in debt. That's why I had to sell my house to keep my business. It was because of what I saw. I didn't correct it. And although I kept saying, I'm not going to be like my mom and dad when I grow up with money, and I'm not going to, and I'm not going to, well, guess what happened? That's exactly what happened. I became them. And it was a
Mhm.
really eye opening moment where I was like, oh my God, I
Mhm.
became what I said I wouldn't. So I
Mhm.
got two choices. I'm going to change it and change the narrative in the direction, and I'm going to work on this on my own, or I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing and I'm going to end up broke even more
Yeah.
so. I've been broke more than once, but that was the biggest
Yeah.
one for sure when I had my business.
Yeah. So what was it that switched for you? When did you start realizing that you can be profitable? Did you see other people, other salon owners that were making money and you're like, "Hey, wait, why is this not working for me?" What was that switch? What happened?
I didn't really pay attention to what other people were doing, and I didn't really know what their businesses were like per se. I had an eye on what their pricing was, because I wanted to know the gaps in the industry and where I fell. But I hit rock bottom. That's the change for me. I was working 6 days a week. I had zero profit. I was working my fingers to the bone. I wasn't charging enough, and I spent money to fill voids. I spent money on marketing that didn't bring an ROI. I just was very, just throw caution to the wind when it came to running my business and my budget. And it just sent me into a tailspin That's how my bottom was the $90,000 in debt. And then the selling of my home. But I feel like the worst part of it is, which was really the wake, like if that wasn't bad enough, but the worst part of it was, which I think what really shook my soul, was the creditors calling, threatening to take my salon furniture. That was like,
Oh.
oh my God, like, what are you doing? It was, I talk a lot about the holding up the mirror in front of your face to really like take accountability. That was
Mhm.
my, oh shit, take accountability moment for me, because
Mhm.
I knew that it was my fault. I knew it was my choice. It were my choices that got me in trouble. And I knew that if I didn't change it, this would be my reality. Being
Mhm.
broke would be my future reality. And I just didn't want that. I also disappointed my team a ton. And I owed it to them because they chose to trust me to work with me. And they said yes to me. So I really owed it to them to really bounce back from this. And so I had to strap on my boots and just literally hit the ground and do the work and really get myself out there and pay attention to all of the things that I avoided for such a long time. And that really was a pivotal moment because that changed the trajectory of my business from year 6 to 11 when I sold it.
Yeah. And when was it strictly pricing that you changed? What were the
Oh
things that
no.
you implemented like immediately that really got you out of that situation?
Everything. Everything had to change. My
Mhm.
mindset had to change. My mindset in the way that I was leading. Yes, pricing was a thing, but my budgeting and where I was spending money, the way I was marketing my business, my brand had to change. My messaging had to change. I mean, I literally stripped down my business to nothing and had to
Mhm.
build it from the ground up. And I
Mhm.
would not have been able to do it without my team. This stuff still gets me so emotional, even though it's so long ago, because it was just such a pivotal moment in my life. And it made me, it allows me to show up so vulnerable in this way to talk about it, because I
Mhm.
know that people are also feeling the struggle, and I want them to understand that there can be light at the end of the tunnel, but you've got to put in the work. And the first thing that you have to do is say, this was on me.
Mhm.
But I had the help of my team to really get us out there and really start promoting ourselves and getting involved in the chamber and the community and do all the things that I wasn't doing.
Yeah. And things that you're like, this was here, but you just had to be in a place where I think like you could see it and you could see what made sense for you to move
Yeah.
forward. And I think
Mhm.
there's so much. I mean, the responsibility of your team and you knowing that you had to care. I mean, all of it is so much. How old were you when that happened?
I was so it was also the recession hit. So
Of
this
like
I went broke and the
2006.
recession hit at the same time. So it
Yeah.
was in 2009,
Okay.
2010. I think it was maybe 28, 28 or
Okay.
29,
Yeah.
around that 29, 30-ish. And
Yeah,
so
which
it was a
now
lot.
I can be like, "You're young." I mean,
Mhm.
you were young to have a salon, you were
Yeah.
young to be a I mean, all of that, I tell the girls at school all the time, I'm like, "Your 30s are when you really figure out, like" I
Mhm.
don't even wanna say your flaws, but just the things that you don't wanna carry with you anymore,
Yes.
like, for
Yep.
some reason, there's just, like, this thing that hopefully happens because I think it was
Mhm.
the best thing for me, it sounds like, like, it was the best thing for you to have to face those things. I think in your 20s, you're still just like grinding, you're
Mhm.
climbing those ladders, you're still just like running and
Yeah.
everything's blurry around you. And then one day it's like, here it is. And like you
Mhm.
hit that wall. But how you can rebuild from that is like, I think genuinely who we are. Like you get to like a place, or hopefully the goal is that you will get to a place where you're like, okay, no, this is me. Like you can grow
Mhm.
into the person that like you're done with all the dumb decisions. You're done with thinking about all the like things that you thought mattered or whatever. You're
Yeah.
not looking at the same things anymore.
For
But
sure.
being able to pivot in that time and pick yourself back up and not just do what unfortunately a lot of people do, which is leave the industry, leave the thing
Yeah.
that you love, leave the thing that you're clearly made to do. And I'm so thankful that you're so open and sharing this, because so many of the students that I speak with are like, I'm looking up to this person or that person, and
Mhm.
if you don't share the ways that you failed, like
Sure.
I tell the girls all the time, I'm like, if you want to listen, and like you guys would be blown away by like what, because I show up every day, I'm like, hey, like I'm
Yeah.
just like mom there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I've been through things and you have to rebuild and have to like
Mhm.
pivot into becoming the person that we are as women now, and going
Absolutely.
through all those things are, it's not failure, and you don't have to run away. It can come back to be the best thing that ever happened,
For
and you
sure.
being able to experience that. I think a lot of people that speak in this industry, like, you have an actual story that you're able to share, to say, I've been there. I what that
Mhm.
builds trust,
Yeah.
and that is so wonderful that you're so open. And I think that that's what, people love about you. And I think, again, that we need more of that, because especially with the way that things have changed so much, we need more people to say, like, yeah, we had to change, and
Mhm.
that's okay, because I think we're always going to be shifting in this industry into different mindsets, and into different ways of thinking. And I know, I mean, I think that, I don't even know if this is still accurate, but I know at one point, I mean, the national, like, average of, earning for a salon owner was like $35,000.
Mhm.
And people think that salon owners are just,
Yeah.
profiting off of
Making bank. Yeah.
stylists and
Mhm.
all of that stuff. I mean, there's still that narrative out there,
Sure.
that salon owners are just profiting off the stylists and they're taking advantage of you. And there are those cases, absolutely. But I don't think that people understand that a lot of them are not making as much as the stylists. And I'm sure that you see that, all the time.
Oh, yeah. And I think, there's so much that goes into running a business. It just
Mhm.
isn't that we open the doors and then we do hair and people come. There's
Mhm.
training, there's coaching, there's hiring, there's mentorship, there's paying the bills, there's running payroll, there's taxes, there's keeping the building in line and making sure that everybody's doing the things and being cohesive with the brand and a culture. Like, there's so many things. And I
Mhm.
think that, I wanted to circle back a little bit because I want to make sure people understand that, I don't want people to be nervous about reaching and going after their goals, because you do have to fail up. You have to
Mhm.
fail in order to be successful. I would not change one single thing about what I have gone through, because if I didn't, I would not be able to speak as candidly as I do with you, and I would not
Mhm.
be able to serve our community. And
Yeah.
so your failure, your mistakes, whatever you want to call them, they could be the answer that somebody else needs and what they're looking for. And
Yep.
so always go for your dreams, always really truly reach for the stars. There's no glass ceiling in this industry. There are so many opportunities that you can take. And yeah, was it a really crappy run for a while for the first 5 years of my business? Absolutely, but it shaped me. And I
Mhm.
would not change it. And I know that there are so many other people out there that have, stories that have shaped them. And
Mhm.
so it isn't about being perfect.
Mhm.
Don't come into this industry thinking that you have to be perfect. There's going to be a story for you too.
Yeah.
Don't look on what's going on social media and seeing how everybody's happy and it's wonderful and great and everybody's making money. That's not reality. They're
Mhm.
telling you what they want you to see. But
Mhm.
the reality is this stuff that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
It's
And
hard. It's hard work. It's struggle. It's
mhm.
dedication. It's commitment. It's working for free. I still work for free. I've been doing this
Mhm.
for 28 years. I still do shit for free, right? It's
Mhm.
being smart about the opportunities that you take and really aligning yourself with the right people. But more so, it's about believing that you can. If I
Mhm.
didn't believe that I could, I would have never made it out of the mess that I created for myself. There has to be a real deep rooted sense of self belief that, you know what? Yeah, I made all these mistakes, but guess what? I know that I can get out of it. So I don't want to scare people and let people think that this industry is so scary and all. No, it's life and it's part of
Mhm.
being in this business. But there's so much greatness in this business and so much opportunity to be had. And I just want people to believe in themselves to take those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I'm seeing, and again, like, with being in the beauty school, and being there with them every day, I really feel like one, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, like, and I'm so thankful for this, because they really, even in their first, few weeks, I had a girl in my office the other day, and, like, we kind of joked about it after, because, and I know she wouldn't, like, mind me sharing this story at all, but she's new and she graduated high school early, actually.
Mhm.
So she's like in her third week of school. And although we are a very large beauty school, like it's just us, and they pop in my office. It's like my
Mhm.
favorite thing ever. And but Savannah comes in my office and she didn't have cosmetology experience. So she's coming in like nothing in high school, like brand new, and just like perfect for the industry. Like she's going to be amazing. And I know that
Mhm.
just from her personality, and you can just see like the fire, but she's in hair cutting and she comes in and she's like, I've been studying, like it's so much harder than I thought. And it's,
Mhm.
all of those things. And she's already like worked up. And I was like, Savannah, listen, like, this is just the beginning of what is going to be challenging for you for like a while, because just when you get this thing,
Mhm.
this trend's going to come up and you're going to need to learn this thing and all these things. Right. And I was like, but you've got to keep going. And this is where you push yourself. This is where you have to dig deep. Just like you said, you have to dig deep and be able to get over those things. I'm like, you are in no way supposed to be perfect at this at all in beauty school. Like, make the mistakes, go, like, this is when you're supposed to
Yeah.
learn. But I think a lot of them do come in with this idea of what they think the beauty industry is going to be. And I'm like, this is why we need to have these conversations so that we can set
Yes.
real expectations, and not even like they're already in it. So you've already made the choice, you've made the commitment to do this. Like,
Mhm.
you got to stick through it. Like, you've got to see it through, because in no way is this just going to be a cakewalk for you at any point
Yeah.
in your career. Because the second you think you have one thing figured, and this is everywhere, this, like you
Yeah,
said, is just life.
for
Like,
sure.
the
Yeah.
second that you think you have one thing figured out, boom, here's another thing that you
Mhm.
didn't see coming that you need to figure out. So
Mhm.
I think just really for young stylists to be able to have that mindset more. And I'm sure it's, general, or I don't know. I just feel like when I knew everything when I was that age too, like I didn't feel
Mhm.
like I needed to learn anything more or whatever. I think that's just a mindset of being young. But as early as we can teach this, I think it's important for us to have these conversations and to say that
Mhm.
there are going to be bumps along the road. And so many people just leave the industry when it gets hard, instead of turning to people to say, hey, I messed up, I'm failing at this, and I need help, which is a really hard thing to do. I'm sure that people come to you very broken and hard. It's hard to admit that things aren't going well, but getting that help is the first step. Going to somebody that you can say, like, she's been through it, I need help here, and what can I do? Like, we just need to be thankful that we have this, these people out here that can, support that. But I think just having the conversations of, like you said, it's not everything that's online, or if people showed what they were actually making,
Mhm.
like if we were even a little more honest about, I think that I remember the time of the six-figure hairstylist, right? And when that became a huge thing, I mean, it was something we would talk about in admissions, at the beauty school. Is when we started to hear that people in our area were making over $100,000 a year, it was
Mhm.
a big deal. And it was like a marketing point for the beauty industry of like, oh my gosh, look what you can do. And now it's even more. But when you see people online, you're like, oh, they must be making $1 zillion. But like you said, you still have to do stuff for free sometimes. Like,
Mhm.
we all do. We all show up and give in some other way that, that we're not talking about
Yeah.
online.
Mhm. True. Very true.
So when people are coming to you, and you're able to kind of step in and help her doing these classes, what is your main focus right now with them? I know you said pricing. If we want to get into that a little bit, because I know you're the expert on that, with pricing and setting pricing, like, what are you seeing right now in the industry, being not even just people being afraid to raise their pricing, but is it on certain services? Is it, for time? People wanting to maybe work less hours but make more? What are you seeing right now?
Well, I think it's always been the increase. That's a big thing, right? We're still having, some challenges wrapped around that because it is a lot of an emotional driven decision. So I'm trying to help them understand by giving them facts and data, understanding their price per minute, price per hour based on their numbers and data from their business, not what's
Mm-hmm.
going on social media. It gives them the confidence to say, wow, wait, my price per minute is supposed to be $1.20 and it's at 89 cents. That means I'm losing X on that one service. That is an easier conversation. Not that you're having that conversation with your client, but it's easier to say, I'm raising my prices by 10%. I haven't had a
Mm-hmm.
price increase in 2 years, so it's time, you know? So that always is a conversation about when should I have a price increase? How much should I have a price increase? But also now it is menu. Been talking about this a lot, like simplifying your menu and making sure that things are client facing and in the terms that they understand. It is understanding price per minute, price per hour, product cost per service. So you know like how you should be marking things up and understanding what your costs are, what your target profit should be. So these are the conversations I'm having, along with how long is it taking you to do this service? Because if
Mhm.
you can do a service in 2 hours and you're taking three, we can significantly increase your price per minute, price per hour if we can get you to go from 3 hours to one. And how do we
Mhm.
do that? With placements, with patterns, with proper product, with tools, with products like Oligo Professional that are efficient. So
Mhm.
I feel like those are all of the conversations that we're having when it comes to pricing. And people are more interested. They're more interested in learning more about pricing now because actually there's a statistic out there 77% of businesses fail because of pricing and because they're not including all of the things that they should be and all of the cost when it comes to pricing their services. So
Mhm.
if you're working more than 40 hours a week, if you have to, you know, double book, if you have to work more than 40 hours a week, if you find that you're just working this crazy schedule, most of the time it's because you're not priced properly. And
Mhm.
if you're not priced properly and you have to work all these extra hours, it's because you're going to have to make up for it somehow. You know,
Right.
if you're undercharging by $20, well, now you're going to have to work an extra 5 to 10 hours a week just to make up for it. So those are the
Yeah.
really in-depth conversations that we're having around pricing.
What is your recommendation for how often you should be, checking your stats, let's say? Like, how often should people be like, reflecting on, okay, this is my last 6 months, this is my last year? What's your recommendation for that? Or what do you see working best for stylists?
You should always check your prices and reassess them every year. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a price increase every year, but you
Mm-hmm.
should reassess them. Your
Mm-hmm.
budget, first of all, I don't teach pricing without budgeting first.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to budget the salon business first, and then that the calculators I have convert to a price per minute, price per hour calculator. So, it makes sense because if we don't understand what our budget is, then how do we understand what our PPM should be, how many hours we're working, what our target profit is? And
Mm-hmm.
so every year, get in the habit of reassessing those prices, and then your demand and also your all of the data that you're compiling will tell you if it's time for a price increase.
Where can people find this information? Do you have like your website like that you work through, or people can come find those calculators so that if they're listening and they're like, "Hey, I just want to check kind of where I'm at." Where does that start?
So my calculators are only privy to my coaching clients and my students. So my Make That Money students, which are independent artists, I have a class just for them, and then my commission salon owners, which is Synergy. All
Okay.
of the calculators are in there for sure. But if they wanted
Awesome.
to grab, I mean, I have a ton of free stuff on my website too. If they wanted to look
Okay.
up, like, when do I raise my prices? I have a free guide that I actually extracted from my course and started giving away for free. So you can
Wow.
download that. It's called the Pricing Upgrade. And also, I have a profit calculator that is free on my website. So you can check what your product cost is for your back bar and see where you're at in your profit margin in your business.
Okay. Now all of this is can be used anywhere. I know a lot of people are like, "Well, I live in this area, so I
Mhm.
can't charge this." What is your reaction to that, or how do you kind of factor that into this calculator as well?
You'll never hear me talk about big town, small town pricing because it doesn't exist.
Yes. Okay,
You base
good.
your services based on facts and data, with starting with your budget, which rent is a key driver. Rent
Mhm.
is going to change and be different in every demographic. That's a big driver of this calculator.
Mhm.
So what I would charge in Kansas City wouldn't necessarily be what I charge in Philly or Miami or Los Angeles, or what I'm charging in Iowa is going to be different. There's
Mhm.
no way to say, well, they should charge more and they should charge less. Everything is based on their market and their market value. So
Mhm.
with my calculators, it's calculating all of those costs based on demographic. So there
Mhm.
isn't a question on whether your price per minute should be $1.22 or $1.50. Your data is going to tell you where you should be. So
Okay.
that's what makes this so efficient, and it makes it
Mhm.
so much more confidence based because now you're like, you can see it in black and white.
Yeah, and I love just operating, and this just might be because I operate, I think, similarly to you, that I'm like, we just need to know what it is and then we can go, from there. But I know
Mhm,
that it's, people use that excuse a lot. I think especially to go after people that are talking about money online and, oh well,
mhm,
I couldn't, like, that might work for you here, but it's not going to work for me here. And I love that you
yeah,
have taken that, that narrative out of it. And also, I think this is a huge thing too, but like, oh, my clients won't pay that.
mhm,
Well, okay, well, that's your price. So you need to get to the place where you can get the clients that will pay that.
mhm,
And
yeah,
and
that's
where
your
do you need to,
value, yeah,
right, exactly. And I love that there's like facts behind this. I think that
mhm,
that is so helpful to get started, especially for somebody that's new, to, to say, like, if you're not, because so many people are going straight into salon ownership, into suites, into,
mhm,
especially, I mean, our estheticians, like going straight into, their own spaces a little sooner. But having all of this like information to back it, and knowing that that's where
mhm,
you need to start, that you have to work backwards of like the cost, and then what
yeah,
do I need to charge on that, is so awesome. And I think that this is extremely valuable. And I think that just setting people up for success, even faster. um I don't know if you've talked about this online already, but I do have a question for you. For you being, again, seeing so many different things that have worked and not worked in the
mhm.
industry, um is there one way, salon structure, model, whatever, that you prefer, that you think is kind of best bet, best way? Is this something that you're able to speak on, or kind of what your opinion is on best practices for starting off, and then going into even something bigger? What's the ideal situation for you?
Sure. I mean, look, I teach and coach to commission salon owners, right? That's my heart and soul because I was one and I understand there's a lot of support that needs to be had. There are many structures that you can use within a commission structure, one of them being hybrid now, where you're having
Mhm.
both rental and commission. I would say that I am not here to tell anyone how to run their business because the biggest thing that you should be asking yourself, whether you want to have a commission space or a rental space, is do I have the capacity to serve other humans, help them grow, coach them, guide them, nurture them, love on them, hold them accountable? That's the
Mhm.
question you should be asking yourself when you want to choose your structure. Because if the
Mhm.
if the answer is yes to that, then commission is for you. If it's no to that, then rental is for you. Now, if we're going to talk finances in a rental model, are you going to be making bank? Not necessarily, because you're capping your income based on what you're charging per chair, right? And you can only raise your rent so much every single year. So if it's a model of like, hey, I want to have a salon, but I want to be kind of hands off and I want people to do their own thing. And I don't want to coach and I don't want to teach and I don't want to be a mentor and do all of those things, then maybe rental is for you. But you have to understand that you will be working behind the chair. It is a little bit more challenging to then remove yourself from behind the chair because, in a lot of cases, not all, but in a lot of cases, you are the breadwinner in that business. So
Mhm.
I lean toward commission because I do feel that the commission is, even though it's changed a lot, I do feel that it is so beneficial for our industry for people to learn and grow and get the mentorship that they need.
Mhm.
But also for commission salon owners, like you really have to understand that the margins are slim and the amount of time that you're going to put into this business is going to be ginormous. And
Mhm.
there really has to be a part of you that truly wants to serve people and make money. It can't be that I just want to make money. There has to be a level of service. And I'm not talking about clients, I'm talking about serving their team and creating
Mhm.
people first cultures. So, do you, whatever feels good for you, but you have to know the realities of both. One is more hands-on, one is more hands-off. One could make you more money, the other one is going to kind of cap you a little bit. So what does that look like and what's going to feel good for you for your financial future?
Yeah, I think a lot in our area too. And I think that and I love that you said like the questions that you need to ask yourself. I don't know that, 20 years ago, that was a conversation or a thought that was necessarily had. I
Yeah.
think there was a lot of people that were um wanting to be like on stage in a different way, or they were like, oh, I've done this in the industry, so now I'm going to open a salon. But it
Mhm.
wasn't those questions that you just asked. I think that's the number one thing. So then when those questions weren't asked, things didn't go possibly the right way, then, stylists were like, well, I don't want to be treated like this. And this isn't
Mhm.
where I want to live, because they weren't working under people that wanted to be leaders or
Sure.
wanted to give education and all of that stuff too. So I think that if anything, like, because we always recommend like the advantages of going into a commission salon. We
Mhm.
partner with a ton of salons in our area to bring them in and say, here's what we recommend for you your first few years out of school, as far as getting extra education and mentorship and all of those things that you listed.
Yeah.
But then the next question for the student is, where do you fit in this? If we're going to
Mhm.
show you all of these commission salons, which one do you fit best with? And that's I feel like a healthy way to start. I think
Yeah.
that's, instead of just being like, well, I see my friend over here that,
Mhm.
is in a suite or is in a whatever. And again, we're very much like, we're same as you, like
Yeah.
do what works best for you, and then go from there. But and to see that like they have all this freedom and stuff, but then I'm like, okay, but you have to understand what that looks like for you to get there, as far as what the
Mhm.
responsibility and time requirement is going
Yep.
to be for you there too. So it's just a huge conversation. I mean, we're obviously like always talking about it. Always, I don't know. I just can't get away from the idea that, they do need that. We need commission salons to be strong, so
Yes.
that we can keep people in the industry. Because again, I think when you get out there and it's hard, people end up leaving also. So I
Yep.
think just for the health of the industry as a whole, we need healthy commission salons. We
Yes.
need healthy structures. And
Mhm.
I think putting these things into place that you've mentioned and really being open to talking about it,
Mhm.
is helpful too. If somebody's working in a commission salon, but their salon's not a part of your coaching, are they still able to access this, or would they need to go through their salon to get this education?
Do you mean like paid education or just anything that's on
For
my website?
your courses specifically.
I mean, I have a lot of commission stylists that run through my courses. Not synergy
Okay.
because that's for a commission salon owner, but
Yeah.
if they're thinking about opening up their own spot like in a suite or chair rental situation,
Mhm.
a lot of them will go through my Make That Money course because it's going to give them the
Awesome.
tools that they need financially. So, yes.
Mhm. Yes, there's so many resources. There's so many different things that you do, that people are able to access you, which is so great. When you are thinking about stylists coming into the industry, what is your best piece of advice for them right now? What is something that you would really encourage them to think about and consider? Maybe somebody that has like 200 hours left of beauty school.
Mhm.
So they haven't maybe settled on a salon yet. They're
Mhm.
about to graduate. They're super burnout from beauty school. They are ready to
Mhm.
graduate,
Yeah.
ready to run. What advice do you have for them?
Number one, always listen to your gut, especially when you're interviewing.
Mhm,
Especially when you're making decisions.
mhm,
Always listen to that gut feeling because it will always guide you in the right direction. I would absolutely look for a salon that has a strong leadership and mentorship program so you can learn the ins and outs, not just the technical side of it, but just understanding the business and how to treat people. It's really good to be a sponge and absorb as much as you can. So taking as much education as you can as possible. Don't just quit that when you're done with school. But I think it's really narrowing in the thoughts and the search of what you want to do and stop allowing outsiders to influence what you really want to do. And that's where the gut check comes in. I think everything looks cool on social media, like, oh, I have my own suite and I'm doing my own thing and I'm like behind the scenes, but they're broke. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like they're making everything look really great, but they're not making the money. And just because it looks cool to go rent a suite when you come out of beauty school doesn't mean it's for you.
mhm.
So really sit in your own thoughts and your own why and your own path and really craft that for yourself. And don't let anyone else influence what you feel is going to be best for you.
I love that. That was so good. I'm
Thank
like,
you.
want to play this tomorrow at the school to make them like hear this. Be like, see, she said it. I love that. That's seriously so helpful. And I do want to make sure that we get all the links to where we can share your stuff too to put in the episode notes so that people and again, because you serve so many different people in different positions, I want to make sure that we're able to get people to the right path. And so you wrote a book, so we can also purchase your book, correct? It's like officially like
Yes.
out for sale, like
Yes.
all the
Yep.
things.
It's launched. You
Awesome.
can buy it on, you can find it on Amazon. I mean, you can find it on my website, and then the link will take you, the landing page will show you all the things about the book. It's called Profit is Personal. And then you can just go buy it on Amazon. So yes, that's one way for sure. I think, people say, well, who is the book for? The book is for everyone who wants to learn, lead, and grow. There is leadership and culture and systems in there. So even if you don't have a team, you're still going to learn about
Mhm.
leadership and being on your own. But listen, maybe 3 years from now, you may want to open up a business and you're just setting yourself up for success by just absorbing all of this information. So yeah, they can find it on my website and they can grab it and purchase it on Amazon.
Ugh, love. That's awesome. I'm so excited. I want to get it. I want to read the book. I seriously am like was thinking when you were talking, I was like, I need to order it and then I need to make this like a book club assignment. And maybe we can do
Yes.
something at the school. I'll keep you
Oh, I love
posted
that.
if we do a little group. But I think that it would be so helpful because again, there are certain students in the school right now that are very hungry for this information.
Sure.
Some
Yeah.
that haven't considered or thought about any of this yet.
Mhm.
But for the ones that want it and are really already asking leadership questions, I mean, it makes me so happy and so proud to have those conversations in beauty school because I think it's not something that's always happening for everybody, but that doesn't mean that you can't access it. I see a lot of conversation on social media about how terrible beauty schools are and all of that stuff. And I'm like, well, the resources are there. You can absolutely, like, even if you're in a school that isn't giving all of this to you,
Mhm.
it's out there. You can still access it. These people exist and we want to blow that up as much as we can. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
do you have a question for Ask Bobbi? Do you have a question for me today?
I am curious to know how you got in the lane of owning the school. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
curious to know how that happened.
Yeah. So through whatever reason like ended up like you like just had a moment where I like just landed with people that I was supposed to be with. I mean,
Mhm,
I think when you were talking about your mentors and stuff, I was just thinking like about how grateful I am for the people that I had early on in this. So I went to college to be a high school English teacher.
mhm,
And I was gonna like save the world and help people. I mean, just like you said, where you have like this love for animals and for all
mhm,
of that, like I just had a love for people and I just didn't know exactly like where to put that.
mhm.
And so when I moved to Knoxville, there was a salon owner who was so the school that I'm co-owner of is we're about to have our 96th birthday next month. It's
Wow. Oh my
fifth
goodness.
generation
Amazing.
owned. Yes.
Okay.
So like a staple in the community for sure. And so I had met this salon owner and he was like, I think that you'd be really great, for this school. They need somebody that can connect to the students.
Mhm.
And when I walked in those doors, I was like, this is just where I'm meant to be. Like
Oh,
the beauty
wow.
industry was like never on my radar. I was like super tomboy growing up, like
Mhm.
sports. I have older brothers. Like I was not like beauty industry, like wasn't on my radar. And then I landed at the school and just fell in love with it. And just like you, I have been structure, procedures, all of those things. I was like, how can this, operate and work, at top speed
Mhm.
and how can we be the best? And my dad had a business when I was growing up and I always really like loved that. Just knowing that like things can kind of I don't know, those challenges, I think
Mhm.
honestly is what it is
Yeah.
it's always something new. And so I landed there and just fell in love with it. And I honestly like even though there's other opportunities to do other things we've figured out a way to make what I want to do with the show and like what we
Mhm.
do in the industry like work with the school. But like I don't know how I would ever leave those students. I just really feel like I'm meant to be a part of their life at these early this the early 17, 18, 19, 20. Like
Mhm.
they're young. And I always think like, had I had somebody that was going to help guide me a little
Right.
sooner,
Yeah.
how much better could that have been? And so it's really like the students. And so after it'll be 14 years that I've been at the school coming up.
Wow.
And so it just really became that I got so interested in the business and just dove in headfirst, super curious about the beauty industry, and just studied it, and just
I love this.
went to hair shows, like
Yeah.
went to like what's working, what's this person doing, what's that person doing, just stayed like curious in it. So we do 1 million things. I mean, like like we're just, there's so many different things that we're doing, but it's all into like how to serve the students,
Mhm.
better. That's why like, I mean, from the brands that we partner with or like the curriculum that we'll bring in or the
Mhm.
different things that we do, that's exciting to me. And I love giving that to the students. So even just like this episode, like I'm so excited to send it out to all of them and to say,
That's
hey,
awesome.
listen to this, so it
Yeah.
feeds a lot of different areas. So that's how
Yeah.
I landed there.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's awesome.
always such a weird challenge. We deal with weird things sometimes, but
We all
it's
do.
yes,
Part of the
it's so
biz.
fun. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of conversations about beauty school right now, obviously. And we have our kind of core group of schools that we will call or network with.
Mhm.
But it really is just, figuring out how to adapt to this new world and how,
Yeah.
how can we make stronger, more successful, stylists and estheticians. So
Nice. Oh, I love that. That's
yes.
awesome. Perfect.
So fun. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. Like I said,
Of
I want to put
course.
links in the episode description so people can know where to find you and know how to access you. But I really appreciate your honesty, your heart for the industry and just everything that you're doing. I hope we'll get to meet in person
I would love
um
that. Yes.
someday for sure, and we'd love to connect. But yeah, thank you for being here and just super thankful for everything that you're doing to share and to get back to what we're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Make sure you guys stay tuned for our next episode and we'll see you next time.